Welcome to Strategic Branding to Multiply Business Profits. My name is Obuekwe, and I am co-founder of Platform Branding Company Limited. I'm also a fellow of the Institute of Brand Management of Nigeria. My mission is to help brands create profitable and sustainable brands using proven strategies. Let me go to what branding is. There's so many myths and misconceptions about what branding is. And it's been defined by the American Marketing Association as a name, term, symbol, design, a feature that identifies one seller's goods or service from another's. Now, when you think back in Nigeria where we're from, we remember how people who owned poultry would tie little strings to their chicken to kind of differentiate them. So that's a bit about how branding evolved. It was the way cattle were being branded with iron so that the owners could tell the one from the other. Now, the more modern definition that kind of explains what branding is today is a definition by Dave Kirpin, which says branding is who you are that differentiates you. So branding is like the promise you're making to the customer. What is your unique promise that you're making to the customer that only you are uniquely qualified to make? So let's think about branding as the sum total of what you want people to feel, to think about you, and then you go about building the blocks to make that happen. So we'll take branding like when you're building a house. First you have a view of how the house should be, and then you start with the foundation. So branding is the foundation for any serious business to build on, because that is what lets you know what else to do, how many doors, how many windows. So we'll use that explanation to explain it in further detail as we go along. Now your brand identity is how you want to be perceived by customers. These are the visible elements of your brand, like your logo, your tagline, typeface, and things like that. It's what distinguishes the business from other businesses visually. So there are three ways in which people experience your brand: either visually or experientially when they come to purchase your products in the business, in the way that you interact with the customers, or verbally in the tone of voice, in the letters that you write, in your marketing strategy. I'll talk about the 4 C's of branding. The first one is your value must be clearly understood. So clarity must be clear. It must be concise. You have to have a simple messaging of your brand so that your product or service is able to sell itself without much promotion. Not everybody has a budget for promotion. And so you find out that if your message is concise, you can actually build a loyal brand without much promotion. Now it has to be consistent. Branding rests on consistency. It might seem to others or to you that this you've used this so long, but you must remain consistent, because when a client comes to know about you, it's not usually the first or the second time. Your message must be consistent so they know what exactly they're going to get. What is the emotional benefit you want them to get from your brand? If your brand makes people happy, you must be able to convey that. And they must always expect and get what you promised them. It must be competitive. So you have to position it in a way that it's able to compete with other brands. If you're a commodity, we remember the days before in Abuja when we had roadside suya sellers. Yahuza came up and they had different branches and people gravitated towards them. And today I don't know how people still go to the roadside to get their suya. We also know about brands like that sell kilishi. Today you can get well-packaged kilishi in the market, in supermarkets today. So your brand must be distinctively positioned to be able to compete with other brands. Now, what makes you unique? Now, people ask, how do you differentiate your product from another one or your service from another one? First of all, you need to know what makes you different. You have to know what makes you different, be clear about what makes you different, and then you have to communicate that with clarity, consistency, and constancy. Now, when you might have identical products with someone else, but you're always able to differentiate. One of the simple ways to differentiate a product or service today is your brand story. What's your story? Why do you do what you do? People want to know why you do what you do. So you're doing healthy living, no more chemicals. You have to communicate that and let people know why. Some people have a story. Maybe they're coming from an illness. I know a lady who had a brief diagnosis of cancer, or cancer diagnosis, and she switched to healthy living, and she drags everybody along. And the passion that she brings into her business, she researches, she's all about healthy living. So you have to tell your story that is unique to everybody, and customers have to first of all buy your brand before you can get a share of their wallet. So you must first of all have the mind share of your clients, and then you can get their wallets. So that is one simple way to differentiate, is by telling your brand story. What is your value proposition? No matter what you're selling, a product, a service, there is a value there. If there's no value there, then really you shouldn't be in any business. But you have to think about what is in it for the customer, not from your vantage view. Why should customers come to you? What is it that you solve? What problem are you solving for them? When you can narrow the problem that you're solving for your customers, then you can come up with a slogan or a tagline that captures what you stand for in one sentence. And that value proposition must be relevant to your target market. So you're not, if someone wants to do natural hair, what is the value proposition? And is it relevant to them? If you say, well, my salon is on 3 floors, is that relevant to your target market? So come up with a line. For us, a platform, our tagline, our slogan is elevate your brand. So it tells you in one sentence what we're about. We know the famous ones like Nike, Just Do It, and so many ones out there. So you boil down the value that you're providing to your customers and come up with a slogan or a tagline that captures it in one sentence. How do you build a powerful brand? The kind of brand that can provide the profits that will make your brand sustainable. You need to be consistent and focus on a core message. Then communicate that across all your touch points. Now, touch points are the ways customers interact with your business, by phone, email, your letters. You must be consistent. When we see GT Bank today GT Bank can take down their signage, and from a mile away, when you come, you will know that this is a GT Bank branch. You have to ensure that your management and employees are also committed to the brand, because they are really the people who will drive the brand. They are the people who will exhibit all the emotions that you want your brand to exhibit. The promises you make to your clients must be delivered, and usually it's through your people. The golden rule of branding, like I said, is consistency. You must keep your brand consistent across all touch points. And to go back to my former allusion about the foundation, building the foundation. Branding is the foundation on which all your marketing efforts rest. If you want to try different marketing strategies, you're going to fail if you don't start by crafting a powerful brand strategy. What makes people open their wallets to you is that your brand is able to target the client with the kind of messages that inspire, evoke, delight, makes them open their wallets. So if you don't have a well-grounded brand strategy, all other marketing efforts are going to fail. It's a luxury that, it might seem like a luxury that you cannot afford. But the truth is, without the branding, a lot of other marketing efforts, you're going to spend time and money on them, and you may not still achieve the desired results. So a complete brand strategy now will save you time and money later. You have to create a brand style guide, a brand standards to guide your stakeholders. If your stakeholders they don't know how to use your logos, you'll get inconsistent branding across the board. And so you see some people who have this brand identity crisis where from month to month things are changing. So you need a brand style guide. So you give your vendors, you give your different stakeholders, so that anywhere they're using your products, there is consistency. Well, let's talk about using social media marketing, because today a lot has changed. People are going online. There's a generation of children that have always known the internet. They've never known anything else. So we need to use it because also it's cheaper. I call it a democratic dispensation where big and small, old and new, you are all given the same platforms. We get the same Facebook and the same Twitter, the same Instagram. These tools are very necessary today in today's market to make sure that you capture the generation of people who, for them, have known nothing else. And also, I know that 92 million Nigerian users they're online. What other platform gives you that opportunity? Social media is a must for anybody who's doing business today. And your voice and your content must remain consistent across all the medium. The way you also present your brand in today's world is slightly different from the way we were used to, when you'd design your product and then you'd present it to the market and they had no choice, but it was like a take it or leave it. Today you have to woo people. You have to allow them co-create your products with you. When you allow them co-create with you, they'll tell you the things they like, what they don't like, and it helps you to bring out the product that will make the maximum impact. So you might say to yourself, my product is X, and they're saying, no, why don't you do it Y? Why don't you improve on this? Why don't you give us this? And these are the things that you can do, and that will help the buy-in into your product. There's also some kind of misconception about what can you brand, and there's some things that don't need branding at all. Now, we all have a brand, whether we like it or not. When you come to meet someone, you take away an impression on them, like it's their reputation. And so businesses that don't believe in branding, they already have a brand. It's just that it may not be what they want. So why don't you craft a brand that is deliberately crafted to give you the results that you want? So we know that if a person like Bill Gates were to walk into any bank, which bank wouldn't give him $1 million without collateral? We know products like Coca-Cola that have been around for over 100 years. They've evolved gradually, but they have stayed true to their origin. Services, there are companies that don't have brick and mortar stores like Google, Uber, Airbnb, that are valued in the tens of billions. Companies like Apple that make all the iPhone products that we love. Non-profits, Red Cross, the Salvation Army. And some people will even trust them more than some governments. And then there are government agencies also, like if Navy SEALs, and if someone says, oh, I belong to the Marines, we know the impressions that we take with us when we hear that. Places. Which person wouldn't like to get a round-trip ticket to Paris? So Paris is known as the city of romance, as a city for love, and these are all deliberately crafted. They haven't happened by chance. So we shouldn't leave our branding to chance. If we want people to have a positive impression, if we want people to open their wallets, we need to we need to have a space in their minds. So we need to have mind share of our clients. Now we know the power of brands. There's so many people that will buy a name for millions of naira, millions of dollars even. There are brands that that people are willing to pay millions and millions just to use, to have the power or privilege of using. Now diamonds are really an example of a brand that of how they became a symbol of wealth, power, and romance. Is that the company, De Beers, decided that they were going to craft a message that tied diamonds to wealth, power, and romance. And soon, many women would feel that their engagement was incomplete if they didn't get a diamond. And I remember I read this article, and the truth is, most of the diamonds lose their value almost soon after you leave the store. They're worth less than half of what you paid for it. But today, till today, people still believe that is one way of showing, and they'll tell you that you need to spend at least 1 month of your salary or 2 months of your salary buying it. And that is how they've kept the diamond as one of the most prized positions. Some people say diamonds are a girl's best friend. So that's the story of branding done right. And so we talk about how to build a sustainable brand, and it's not about a profitable brand, and it's not so much about the kind of money that you spend on your branding. If you're able to articulate the promise of your brand and deliver that consistently across all your touch points, you are on your way to building a great brand. You don't have to spend millions of naira. Branding isn't advertising. It doesn't depend on millions of naira budget. Branding isn't just your logo. Branding is being able to deliver consistently, clearly, with constancy on the promise that you made to your clients. And that is possible for a startup, from a startup to a conglomerate. When you do get a great brand, the customer will reward you for it. You'll be more profitable. You'll have less price sensitivity. We know that there are makeup artists in Nigeria today that will charge you 300,000 naira to do your makeup, and some will charge 5,000. And still people are lining up. My friend who does makeup, and incidentally, she charges upwards of 300,000. Sometimes she's booked for 6 months in advance. So people are less price sensitive when you build your brand. They'll open their wallets gladly and pay you. And we know examples, like when you go into the store, you have your brands. You want Peak Milk. I, for one, I always buy Peak Milk. I don't know why, but the brand has stuck with me, and I don't know what other prices. I don't know the price of other types of milk. I only know the price of the one that I buy, and I have remained a loyal customer. So when you have a great brand, loyalty, people will always. Some people will. I'm a Coca-Cola person, and if there's no Coke, I'll drink water before I drink Pepsi. So when you build a great brand, people are less. Your products and services are less. It's less price sensitive. You can command premium prices, and your product might just be one where it's affordable for people. Then you'll still command loyalty and repeat purchases. People have greater customer satisfaction, and buyers are motivated. They want to own your brand. We know that when the iPhone has a new product out, people are lining up. They're sleeping in the rain. They're waiting to be the first owners of your product. So when you build a great brand, you will command this loyal following that will go with you. I use the same people, even for my local, even inside the markets, Use Market and Gariki Market, I buy from the same person all the time. The supplier of gas to my house has been supplying for 10 years. So when you have a great brand, you'll have loyalty, and you'll build trust as well. Now, not everybody is able to build a great brand from start. It takes time, it takes perseverance, it takes patience. But there are ways to avoid brand failures, and we know samples of those things. We know about Nitel in Nigeria, how You know, they probably could have been the very first GSM company if they were willing to evolve. But once we had alternatives, everybody switched. You know, there are people that struggle to keep up with the times, like BlackBerry, like the Kodak company. You know, that was still making films that you have to go into a dark room to watch and everything. Some people lose focus and let the experience slide. Nokia was one of the first innovators in this telephone, mobile phone market. But when Techno were I remember the CEO of Slot saying that they were telling them, look, this is what customers want, and they were not able to adapt quick enough. So even when you're a big company, you still have to think like a startup, so that you're not caught up in, one of these brand failures that we're talking about. We know the stories of what has happened to Mr. Biggs. Why hasn't Mr. Biggs been able to adapt? Some people fail to adapt, and other people come and they take over. Changes in your consumer preferences. Are people coming and saying to you, oh, I want it this way? Oh, let me lick ice cream, for example. Someone comes in and says, oh, give me ice cream, give me vanilla and strawberry, and like, oh no, we don't mix it. You know, if they find someone else where they can mix everything under the sun, they're going to move. You know, if you're a monopoly, you're still a monopoly, and because you're a monopoly, you don't know that times are changing. Once we know what the Android did to BlackBerry, you know, and you cannot promise one thing and deliver another thing. If you do that for a very long time, you're going to fail. We know Arik today is rebranding almost, but for a long time they were not delivering what they promised. They were cancelled flights and everything. But we've seen they've come back strong, promising and delivering what they promise on. And when you make a mistake, you're allowed to apologize and make amends. But if you continue doing the wrong thing, when you're not an authentic brand, when you make a promise and you don't keep it, after a few experiences, your reputation is going to spread and people are going to avoid you. Now, why do we do what we do? There are a lot of people who are not able to deliver everything the way they want, or they don't know what their branding should look like. For some people, they just say to you, oh, I just need a flyer, I just need a logo. And unfortunately, many people they go to their brothers who's a graphic designer, or and try and explain what they need. Now, that's not going to work, because the core essence of branding is being able to come up with a strategy that will tell you what you need to do. If you don't do that, then you're just going to be doing different acts of marketing. Oh, today I need a flyer, or tomorrow I need. So first, as a company, if you already have a company that's existing, look at your branding, look at your strategy. Do you have a clear-cut strategy? And there are questions to ask. There's some questions that if you ask and answer them, it will help you to craft that strategy. But the branding is that strong foundation that you need. So our branding strategies at Platform are designed to differentiate you in the marketplace. And not just to differentiate you, but to create the kind of loyalty and mind share that enables you to get customers, enables you to be profitable, so that customers open their wallets. Our mission is to help businesses grow, So if you connect with us, we can discuss some of these brand strategies that will help you scale your business. So in conclusion, I will say to you that customers buy based on emotion. If you walk into the store any day, try and find out why you buy what you buy. You don't buy things based on, if we bought things because they were functional and right, then anybody will buy a Swatch watch, for example, will tell you the time. But some people still go and buy a Rolex, because the Rolex symbolizes much more than time. It says you've arrived. And it's the same with cars. We buy cars based on, not just functionality. If any car can get you from A to B, yes, but we normally buy because of the emotion behind the brand that we're buying. Some people today, they're so proud. They will tattoo the the logo of the brand that they love on their bodies. That is how passionate some people are. So people buy based on emotion. People that go out and stand in the sun, people don't do that for, nobody's going to stand in the sun for the Nokias. But the iPhone has built, is like an iconic brand that has built its brand, and that's why people buy it. People buy it for more than the ability to make calls. And branding is vital to the success of any business. If your business, it might survive a few years, but it's not going to survive in the long term, because when someone else comes out with a strategy that makes them realize why you do what you do, the promise that you're making that no one else can make, they will move. So we know about commodities. Commodities are, all the things that you can buy interchangeably. So you go into the market, you can buy, what product do I think of now that you can buy? Well, let's use kilishi before. You could just go into Zone 1 and buy kilishi from anybody. And someone starts saying, look, I'm going to do this right. I'll package it, so it doesn't have dirt, it doesn't have, now they're in the stores. And my children say to me, Mommy, I think I prefer the one in ShopRite. It's probably the same taste, but someone has taken the time to do all the thing for you. And those who don't want, so those who are selling by Zone 1, how long can they compete with people who are package their product that they can export it? It can be, kilishi can now move from Abuja to all parts of Nigeria. They can use the ShopRite network to distribute their products. So when you do branding right, you create long-term loyalty, timely purchases, and this is a quote by Richie Dumpton. And I'll leave you with another quote by Maya Angelou, where she says that people will forget what you do and what you say, but they will not forget how you made them feel. So branding is all about emotion. How do you want people to feel when they hear the name of your product? Should they feel excited? Should they feel inspired? Should it evoke, even if you're a non-profit, you want people to follow your causes. You want people to champion them. You want people to donate to your causes. If you're an SME, it's still no excuse. Branding doesn't have to be a large budget. So follow me on Obuekwe and at Obuekwe on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and let's talk more about how we can move your business, how we can grow your business, the tips and tricks to scale your business and build a profitable and sustainable brand. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Uju. Excellent presentation, and thank you for listening in. I'm Oju Gorajoma from Right Track Consulting and the convener of the Sprouts Business Community Group. So contact Uju on any of those handles, or maybe through her office or website, and she would really get back to you to take your brand, to the next level. So thank you for listening in.